Welcome to another edition of the New Sports Outlaws podcast. Dan, we have a lot going on right now. I showed you my setup before we got started here tonight. We are videotaping the podcast this week on a Friday. The Knicks are on Game 6 from the Garden to my right. The Yankees and Mets are facing off in the first Subway Series game with Juan Soto's return to Yankees. We got draft lottery to talk about. We got some NFL schedule information. How are you this week, Dan?
Doing good. I know this is a little late. We're on May 16th this week. We're on a Friday this week. One of the best New York sports days, especially for you, because with you being the Knicks fan here. So we got a lot. We got you said Yankees, Mets. We got Boston Knicks. We got Shakira at MetLife. There's a lot going on. There's something going on at I think UBS too. I think something's going on like Kane Brown at whatever I send you. One of those guys that are performing at UBS. So a lot going on, lots of traffic happening as I was coming home from my ride home today. Let's go wherever you want to start.
All right, so we'll start NBA. The Knicks have just taken off. I feel like I have the iPad on mute, but it feels like the Garden wants to just explode.
There's no mute button today. There
With-
is no mute button today.
With every basket by the Knicks, with every missed basket by the Celtics. So the last time we talked, we hadn't seen the big injury yet. And the big injury was and is Jason Tatum tore his Achilles tendon. He had surgery. He's out for the year. He'll probably miss almost all, if not all, of next season. And the Knicks lost the game actually to the Tatumless Celtics in Game 5 in Boston. But in my opinion, it's do or die right now. The Knicks need to win this game. I know before the series started, I picked the Knicks in 7, but the way the series started and the way it's progressed, I don't think that the 7 games is feasible for the Knicks. If the Knicks want to win this series, they need to win tonight. They let the Celtics they let Cornette. I'm sorry, I have some notes for you. Cornette had 10 points, 9 rebounds, 7 blocked shots. White shot 7 for 13 from 3, and Pritchard shot 5 of 14 for 3. They let the role players really overcome the loss of Jason Tatum, and they need to stop that tonight. Game 5 was the first time the Celtics weren't up by 9 points or more in the series, and I think they need to fix that, and I think you need a big night from one of your role players, your Bridges, or not role, but you know what I mean, like side pieces, Bridges or McBride.
Yeah. Everyone who made a prediction, including myself, at the very beginning of the series, no one predicted the series would go anywhere near it does. So I don't want to hear the big predictions. Tommy Lugauer said it in 6. Lukey said it in 6 over and over. It's exactly how it happened. Or you, that with the Knicks in 7, you had no idea that the Knicks would be up 2-0, 3-1. No, I don't want to hear that. But yeah, this is definitely taking a change. I believe last Wednesday was game 1. I believe the one we did when we did our last podcast. So a lot has changed between the Knicks going up 2-0. Oh my God! Then Boston kind of destroyed them, and then all of a sudden Tatum's get hurt, which pretty devastating injury. I mean, Achilles is pretty much the worst injury nowadays that you can have, and that's even whether it's football, baseball. I mean, we know with the Aaron Rodgers situation in with the Jets 2 years ago, I guess now. Yeah, it's a tough one. And then all of a sudden, the chips are down, and all of a sudden, the Knicks have pressure on them now. We go from Boston having all the pressure to now the Knicks have to win the series like tonight, maybe. So it's a lot going on. Yeah, 4-3. Another Soto walk. Anyway, yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of live updates, and not even talking about it. Yeah, it looked like a different Boston team in Game 5 in terms of they actually like ran an offense. It looked like. I didn't watch Boston like a crazy amount this year, and obviously they were one of the best offenses. We know them for just their shoot threes, and they shoot a lot of them. It did seem like, even though Tatum was literally dominating game 4, it was a lot of ISO, and it was a lot of give the ball to Tatum and let him cook. And he was cooking, and he almost carried them up until like that 3 or 2 minute mark, whenever he got hurt, to a game. It would have been a series tying 2-2 at the time. It would have been. But game 5, a lot more ball movement. Jaylen Brown, I believe, had 11 assists in that game, which was, so he was playing like that point guard role. Derek White is shooting lights out this series. I I don't know what's going on. He just keeps throwing them up there. He keeps making them. But so it's definitely a different Boston team than we saw. But hopefully with the Knicks, because game 3 they looked like crap. Then it was a great game 4. Then game 5 they looked like crap. Maybe it's time for the Knicks to kind of turn it around and hopefully have a good game 6 for them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny you updated in the middle of your speech because I was ready. I was like, oh, if Danny stops talking, I'm going to say what's going on in the game. The Knicks are getting pummeled. There's no fouls being called, but I'll leave that alone. Catch got literally pulled. I saw
Oh God, everything's a cat pummel.
and
You think he's a little 6'2" Jalen Brunson? Like, what are we doing here?
it's what does Boomer say? Screw the Ranger button. It's the screw the Knicks button. No. Anyway. No, I'm not gonna harp on the refs. I'm just saying that for effect. But yeah, I tagged that little redheaded weasel, Evan Roberts, and because he was like, oh, the only person I've seen pick the Knicks is Tommy Lugauer. No, that's false. I picked the Knicks too. Um. And he didn't get back to us, but it is what it is. The Knicks are losing right now by 1, and Rondon give up a single to Vientos after getting Pete Alonso out. So, I mean, listen, Rondon has been good. I mean, I think he's a little nervous to face Soto, and he's being extra careful with Juan Soto in his first 2 at bats. But we'll see what he does with Nimmo here. The first at bat, Nimmo looked like crap. Um, and But as far as back to the Knicks go, and to wrap up basketball, uh, listen, I want a rematch with that female dog, Tyrese Halliburton. I want to see them end it tonight.
Mm,
I don't want to have to
mm.
go another game. I don't want to have to go try to win a game up in Boston. Mikal Bridges with a 3. Um, yeah. I'm before we move on from NBA, since we're already talking about Knicks, let's talk about a little bit of your team and other news in the NBA, which was the draft lottery. The Dallas Mavericks had a 1.8% chance to win the draft lottery, and the Dallas Mavericks somehow come up with the first pick. I smell a little bit of conspiracy here. What do you think?
Um, yeah, it's tough. Again, so then being a Nets fan, we haven't been in the lottery forever. So we finally, I think, have recovered from all the trades between the Boston trade from years back that gave them Tatum and Brown, and then this past one, where in terms of we got James Harden, the James Harden trade from a while back, I guess a few years back. So as a Nets fan, I was excited to be in the lottery for the first time in forever, because I really hadn't wanted to watch the lottery in a while. There's no reason to really watch the lottery, at least on my side. So to see I'm familiar with the odds and I'm familiar with the percentages. Like the team like the Mavs had the 1 point something percent chance, and the Jazz and the top 3 teams had like the 13% chance or whatever. Um, it's not. I'm not going to go year round. You can talk about the rig and being the it's in the Mets are about to get a couple of runs. And I'm not gonna say the fix is in, but it's it's a little weird how the lottery's going when a team who was just playing the play-in game in this year, they were in the play-in game, is going to get the first overall pick. I think something definitely needs to change with that in terms of that. Like they were literally, I mean, they're a totally different team because they were just in the NBA Finals last year. They were just in the NBA Finals last year, the Mavericks. They were just in the play-in game, and now all of a sudden they get the number 1 overall pick. I'm not saying 1% can't happen. I get it. It kind of happened last year too. I believe the Atlanta Hawks had the number one pick 2 years ago, I guess last year, and they got that Zachary Ricochet guy from France or whatever it is. But I think something definitely needs to change with that, because even teams that are terrible, like the Wizards and the Jazz and the Hornets, those teams that are just have been terrible forever, they were waiting for this year to be this year. Like, one of us going to get Cooper Flag or even Dylan Harper, the number 2 pick. And it turns out teams like San Antonio, who just drafted Victor Wembanyama, and Dallas, who just pretty much who had Luka Doncic, who now are just going to get Cooper Flag, and even Philadelphia, who kind of tanked. They're the ones who actually tanked, and they sort of worked for them a little bit. The teams like the Wizards, they're still going to get good players. The Wizards, the Jazz, and the Hornets. I think they're 4, 5, 6 respectively. The Nets ended up getting 8, and that was pretty much their worst of what they could have gotten. And we're still going to get a really good player. Obviously, we were hoping to get a top 4, maybe even stay at 6 or 7. But there's definitely something wrong with the lottery when a team who's just in the play-in game has gotten the first pick. And I don't want to care about the overall. Maybe something like top 6 teams have a chance, or bottom 6 teams have a chance of getting the number 1 pick. Something like that. But something with the lottery definitely needs to change.
Dan, for anybody who watches our podcasts, I did a on this. We were talking about Nets tank, Nets tank, Nets tank. I said, dating back for the last, I want to say it was 10 to 15 years that I did the research, 1 or 2 teams in every single draft lottery who were not in the bottom 3 got a top 3 pick. This year was 2 of them, I believe, right? This year it finished 2 of the 3 picks in the
The
top
top,
3.
the top 2 picks are the Mavs and the Spurs. And the Spurs seem like they get the number 1 pick
Yeah,
a
but they
lot.
they were bad, but they weren't in the bottom 3. It wasn't
No,
like
they had worse odds than the Nets. I think they were like, it was like 9 or 10 that they had. I wasn't sure of the exact thing,
no,
but
but
the
I'm
Mavs were
not
like
saying
12 or
it's not like
13. Go
it's
ahead.
not like the Mavs were at 1.8% or
Yeah, I don't know the Spurs. I wasn't sure of the Spurs one.
yeah. So it's this is par for the course. As far as the conspiracy theory that I served you up on a platter and you don't want to take it, I will take it and run with it. Nico Harrison maybe made one of the top 5 biggest idiot trades in all of sports history across the 4 major sports. He traded, whether you hate Luca or not, he traded a budding superstar who just needs to lose a couple pounds, who everyone thinks is a great offensive player, for a guy who's older, who's made of glass, and 1 first-round pick. It was not even. So I feel, and the NBA has stepped in and stopped trades before, but we decided this one wasn't going to be stopped. Why? Because Luca went to the Lakers and he went LeChoke James. Yeah, no. I think it was a total fix, and it just look across the line. Even the great one, LeBron James, said, hinted at it on McAfee's show, that like, oh, what happened? Like the year that Cleveland got the 1, or the year I was coming out, Cleveland got the 1. The year Derrick Rose was coming out, Chicago got the 1. What about now? Now Dallas gets the 1. I feel like the fix was in. They've been doing this since Patrick Ewing went to the Knicks, and the envelope was frozen all those years ago. I think that the NBA does this on purpose. Hey Dallas, just trade Luca to the Lakers, and we'll fix your problem for you. So now they get the mixed Cooper Flag in. I just saw.
Oh
I just saw.
no, no, they called it off.
Oh, that is such BS.
I got it.
Let's
I have
get.
to watch it. I didn't see it.
Um.
So Karl-Anthony Towns just got called for an offensive foul for a 3-pointer that he made because he kicked his leg out, and he did. So, all right,
Oh,
keep going.
stop it! He didn't kick his leg out. He was
Do
2
you do not think he's kicking his leg out? Are
inches.
you literally watching any replays right now?
For being an
Are
absolute
you?
trouble. He was 2 inches off the ground. Who was he kicking? His foot was this far off the ground. He's got less combined. He
That's a
doesn't
good.
know
It's
what.
great. It is. It's a good point. He can't jump for anything. Why is Kristaps shooting? He's absolutely terrible. Take him
Yeah,
out. He can't. He can barely breathe. Put Luke Cornett back in the game.
yeah. I mean, he's basically been out
Jesus.
for Cornette.
Uh,
Come on,
uh,
Rondon. Bases loaded. 0-2 count. 2 outs. Acuna up, and Rondon is going to see if he can get out of this jam. He's got Acuna on the ground. Foul ball. Yeah. So I will put basketball to bed. I do think that there's some shenanigans that goes on in basketball. We're talking basketball and baseball because the Yankees and Mets are on. First game of the Subway Series. They're both 6-4. They're both first in their division. They're both second overall in their own leagues in the National League
it's
and
not
the American League.
flexing. It's not flexing. It's Jalen Brown.
Well, that's Cat. I mean,
No,
he
no.
admittedly
I
soft.
want to hear it flex. Everyone is little that's guarding him. I don't want to see no flexing going on.
I
But it's putting Jalen Brown on him, and then he's got an N1 because he's not getting back on defense.
I'm not
Stupid.
fighting.
I want to hear about
Well,
Cat.
he's not. Calm down. Let's calm down. Let's calm down.
I
He's
want to
wrong.
hear that. Look at
He's
him.
wrong.
I want
He's
to hear about
wrong.
this. He's seven,
He's
7 feet
wrong for
tall,
flexing.
250 pounds.
He's
I want to
wrong
hear
for
that.
flexing on Jalen Brown, but he's not guarding Jalen Brown. That's Mikal Bridges' man. So Mikal didn't get back. It's not
Mikal Bridges. It's OG's man. What are you talking about?
whether whoever got mixed up. They
I don't care.
switched up.
Someone on Wingstop that's a fake Wingstop guy. Wingstop. I want to hear about this Wingstop.
They
Ball.
they switch. OG and Mikal Bridges switch constantly. So Mikal was the closest to Brown. That's not Cat's guy. So I have to defend Cat in there. And what I was trying to say to you before was
Cat.
when we were first talking about flexing. He flexes too much. He gets butt hurt when the referees don't call a foul for him. He acts like a guard and he's 7 foot tall. So he wants guard treatment.
I love that.
Acuna pop out. 4-1 Yankees out of that trouble with the bases loaded. And you got the top of the order coming up. 1, 2, 3, Grisham, Judge, and Bellinger. Back to our Yankee talk, Dan. Both teams are doing excellent this year for different reasons. The Yankees' offense is statistically the best, one of the best in the league, and definitely the best in the American League. And the Mets are one of the best pitching staffs, as you can tell by early Tyler McGill, even Tyler McGill, who's their fifth starter, he's put up a solid game. 3, 4 runs, 2 runs earned. What do we think about the Subway Series here? What do you think about the first reaction to Juan Soto in a Met uniform?
Yeah, obviously this was a big, huge game because of the Soto coming back to the Bronx. But this is really the first time in a while. I know the Mets kind of came on the end of last year, but these teams are both in first place. And I think every time like a New York team plays a New York team, or we can go back, whatever sport it is, we kind of just wait for both of them to be good. Whether it's the Giants or the Jets, normally it's just one of them that are okay, or in this case, lately, both of them suck. Whether it's even Nets Knicks, I mean, they met that one time in the playoffs a long time back, where I believe the Nets swept the Knicks. But it's been a while since one of them they both been good. It's really, I think, special when they both are really good, and seeing Soto being as pompous as he is in his first plate appearance, when literally probably 70% of the crowd is booing him and the other one are Met fans, and he's waving his little cap in the crowd like thanks, and with that smile on his face. And then the same thing happened when he was the last one to get to right field. He literally threw one ball and that was it. I was kind of happy. I know Soto hasn't done anything. He has just 2 walks right now. But I think this is a big series for the Yankees because they got swept last year in all 6 games or 4 games. No, it had to be 6 games. 6 games that they played, they got swept in them.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important for them to kind of establish themselves as. Sorry, yeah, watching the Cat. It is 16-13 Knicks right now. Cat's got offensive rebound. So yeah, it's very important for the Yankees to kind of reestablish themselves as kind of the big brother in New York.
Yeah. As far as this specific series, Yankees have the advantage, at least on Game 3, with Max Fried against Peterson. So you'd like to steal away this game so that tomorrow feels like house money because you would think the Yankees have, like I said, the distinct advantage with Fried versus.
What is Cat doing?
He, he thinks he's Steph Curry sometimes. I don't
It's
get it.
like all of a sudden, because we shot 2 threes in the series, all of a sudden people heard about it. So now, what is Chris? And then Chris tapped. That's unbelievable. Like, I mean, he must be feeling good because he's throwing up like 3 or 4 shots already.
No, he just didn't have any more breath in his lungs. He had to get rid of the ball so he didn't have to run all the way back. He didn't want to run the offensive set. Anyway, yeah, the Yankees have the advantage, I believe. Especially,
Stop begging. Where are you seeing a foul, Cat? Where?
I didn't see it. I didn't. I saw Kristaps on the help
Yeah,
get the block. I think he's asking
he's
for a
getting into
foul.
like Luka Doncic's territory and Giannis territory. Like,
Yeah,
stop. All right, yeah,
no,
all right. Go ahead.
definitely. It's
What?
even passing Tim Duncan territory at this point.
Go
I know we
ahead,
all.
Soto. What's your reactions to Soto? That
I
is a bet.
they booed him at first when he first came up. They booed him, which was normal. There was a bunch of probably drunk New York people chanting F1 Soto, F1 Soto. And I mean you had to expect that, but I did like the whole, as we were talking about before we got on the podcast. We listened to a lot of WFAN and Evan and Tiki in the afternoon. Tiki had been promoting everyone to just turn around. Don't boo him, turn around. And they actually kind of took, even though they did boo him and they did say F
In
Soto,
the field, when he went to the field.
yep, they turned around and showed them their backs because he talked about last year how he loved the bleacher creatures, loved this and that. And then he sold us out for a couple extra dollars. So, yeah, I think that they did exactly what Tiki was asking, just not Tiki didn't want any booing, so we'll take it. I think that was a pretty good move. Clay Bellinger down the line, and Judge is gonna stop at third, and Bellinger will stop at second and third.
Bellinger's stepping it up. Bellinger is hitting a lot better lately.
Yep, and
There you go. There you go.
Here comes Goldschmidt, who's 1 for 2. He's put pretty good bat to ball, still batting over 350, which is pretty exciting for this part of the year. We'll check in on the Yankees as we finish talking here, but I do want to talk about the NFL a little bit before we go this week. The schedules have come out. We did know who they were playing. Like you knew the Giants were playing, you knew the Jets and Dallas and everybody who they were playing. We just didn't know when they were playing. And Dan, like every week we do this podcast until the season starts. I'm gonna take each week and throw a game or 2 games at you per week in the schedule that I think is going to be really intriguing. And This week I'm going to give you the 2 most intriguing games I think for week 1. You have Goldschmidt, baby, single through the left side between third and short. Judge scores 5-1, first and third, 1 out. So the 2 games I think are the most intriguing for week 1 are the Cowboys and the Eagles in week 1, and the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills. What are your thoughts on the schedule release?
Yeah, obviously throwing the Cowboys, of course, on that. What an opportunity for the NFL to display their Super Bowl champions by putting them on the very first game against the richest, or I guess the most money. I don't know, the most. The team that makes the most money, kind of, I guess, the not most popular anymore. I'm trying to think of basically the richest franchise, I guess, or the most valued franchise in the NFL with the Dallas Cowboys. It's a tough one for the Cowboys to open up with because we don't even know the status of Dak going into the first game of the year yet. Obviously, we got a shiny new toy in George Pickens. We have 2 stud wide receivers, a young defense who showed some promise last year. But I mean, I guess if there's a time to get some of those elite teams, it's early in the year, usually when September is kind of your extended preseason almost, or especially that week 1. Normally some of those week 1 games are a little rough to watch offensively in terms of fluidity at first. So yeah, it's going to be a tough one for the Cowboys, but I think they'll stick with the Eagles a little bit. And yeah, the Ravens-Bills game, yeah. Yeah, rating MVP Lamar Jackson. No, not even Lamar Jackson. Josh Allen won the MVP, didn't he?
So
Yeah,
like,
Josh Allen won the MVP against the Bill. That's going to be a high scoring game. I think I'll see a lot of offense that game. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the Ravens kind of pull that out. It's a little early for predictions and everything. Another run scored, 6-1.
yep.
And good job,
At,
Cat. Good job,
okay.
Cat.
So
Yeah, so it's a couple good games to look at. Looking forward to it.
and yeah. So real quick about the Cowboys, Dan, if you have a shot to take them out, they were not good last year. Listen, they finished the year like world beaters, but they started the year really shaky if you remember last year. So maybe there's something to the fact that they need to like get the wheels rolling. Maybe week 1 is a good time to pick them off. We'll see. The schedule makers didn't do the Giants any favors. Statistically speaking, they have the hardest schedule in the NFL in at minimum the last 5 years uh, of covering these schedule releases. Is what it is. I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna have that many wins anyway. All you want to see is some progress. I think Dable is fine. His job and Shane's job are fine if they show progress. If they could have 3 wins, but if they show 3 wins and the defense is world beaters, they just can't score enough. And maybe Jackson Dart starts to show in some gameplay toward the end of the year that he's got talent, kind of like a Michael Penix last year, where he came in the last 2 or 3 games and showed they got their future quarterback. I think that could all bode well for the Giants, even if they don't have that many wins this year.
Yeah, it's going to be it's a slippery slope for the Giants. Just because I mean, do they? I mean, I don't know if they're going to be pressured to play Jackson Dart later in the year, or I mean, depending because they're playing the AFC West, the division wise, and it's one of the toughest divisions with the up and coming Raiders, Chargers, Chiefs, and Broncos, who are 4 really tough teams. And I mean, the Raiders weren't that good, but they're on the up and coming. With new coach Pete Carroll, new quarterback Geno Smith, and I mean they're up and coming. So it's a tough division. The NFC East is going to be a tougher division. So I mean you wouldn't think since they finished in last place that they would have an easier schedule, but that's already almost was at 10 games against a tough division and then their own division. So it might be tough. And I guess the defense has to be really good, or at least be really impressive. And maybe Jackson Dart does have to sit the year in order for them to keep their jobs. Because I guess if Jackson Dart goes out there and he doesn't look good for a couple weeks, then all of a sudden, like even though it's only 2 weeks and you can't really make a assumption based on 2 weeks, it's going to look bad in terms of media, that kind of thing. So they may have to sit Jackson Dart the whole year, which is probably best for him anyway. I guess as long as they don't bottom out, I guess, but they've been bottoming out. I mean, last year was pretty close to bottoming out. I mean, I guess the defense, I guess they have to show progress. I mean, that record wise, would they win 3 wins last year? Is that what they had? 3 wins last year? Maybe 4. Um, I guess they have to get more. I don't know how they're going to have more wins and look better. It's a tough one, but the defense definitely has to improve with Abdul Carter first round pick.
Yeah, most definitely. Dan, that's all I got for you this week. The Knicks
Yeah, so
are
at
up
the end of the first quarter is the
26
Knicks
20.
26, Boston 20, unless there's some miracle shot that's going to happen. And it's whoa, whoa. Yeah, yeah. So we have a lot going on. Yankees are currently up 6-1 on the Mets, so good sign there. Knicks are up by 6, and what are most are saying are a must-win game. So hopefully you don't want this to go back to Boston in 7, no matter what. Yeah, it was a fun podcast. Nice little live podcast we're doing. So it'll be fun to talk about it next Wednesday. We'll be able to talk about the Subway Series. Hopefully for your kids, we do some positivity on the Knicks wise. Good play, Goldie. Positivity. And yeah, so we'll have a lot more of NFL to talk about as well next week. So keep subscribing. Please subscribe on on X, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Keep those followers and comments coming. So until next time, I'm Danny. This is Neil. Signing off.